Well, everyone's having a good look around, but nobody prepared to make a break. Liz McColgan through 24 miles, just over 2 miles left. And the road behind her looks empty. Well, the men still tightly locked together. Serrano, Kabiga, Castro, Russo, Halibut, Paul Evans, Benson Masher. And it's young Kabiga, only 19, who's now making the first move.
Well, usually when you see them running side by side in the marathon, you know that they're just waiting on somebody to make a move, and Kabiga just moved to the front, looked as though he was going to do something, and then just allowed himself to be caught up by the group again, and what he's decided isn't time yet. Serrano on the inside. I would suggest that Serrano, last year's winner, would have to make a move from a fairly long way out, because there are a couple of these athletes, notably Russo and Castro, who could handle Serrano if it came to a very, very short finish. So I think Serrano will be making plans in his mind. I think Russo knows he's the class act in this field in terms of track running. Castro can handle himself on the track, and Paul Evans is running a great race right at the back of that group.
I think Benson Masher's just dropped off the pace a little bit. "21 miles, Brendan, 84.04 brings him home in what sort of time?"
About 2 hours 8 and 2 hours 9 minutes. So they're 5 miles to go in the men's marathon, but I think they're now all forgetting about times. There's no world record on today. There's personal bests for 1 or 2 of them, but that's less important in a class race like this to try and win the actual race. So there's going to be some thinking going on now. There's going to be some planning going on, and they're all looking at one another, and these men have run against each other so often that they'll all know about each other's strengths and weaknesses. Particularly Vincent Russo will know all about Eddie Hellebuck, but Kabiga, the leader, he's the unknown package in here. He's the one that's got no real form over a marathon or over great track races, but he's in there, he's in amongst them, and he's running well. There's Eddie Hellebuck, the number 2 Belgian, who's well on his way to be selected for the Olympics. Then Vincent Russo, the class track runner amongst these athletes, the one who can't run in the heat. And there's last year's winner, Dionisio Serrano. Looks as though he's going to get ready to make his move. And then Antonio Serrano of Spain, one of Spain's top marathon runners, and what a number of top runners they've got these days. Just behind him, Domingos Castro, famed track runner, moved up from the track over the years. His brother Dionisio holds the world record for 20 kilometers. And then Russo again, and then just at the back of that group, running a great race, Paul Evans, and then Herman Silva. So they're all there. Paul looks as though he's working hard, and this is the closest he's been to the front. And now I sense the pace is just beginning to gather, and Paul Evans is running his way onto the Olympic team, and he certainly will deserve that Olympic selection if it comes. But now they're stringing out. Kabiga stretching them.
Well, along the embankment, Liz McColgan must be feeling she's set for glory. To win on home soil, a marvellous achievement, and she's timed the race perfectly. Well, they're in 3rd place, just ahead of Harkenstan. The long-time leader is Joyce Chumba, another Kenyan. Just moving forward to see the 2nd-placed athlete, who should be Kanana. There's a big gap between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. There's Kanana in 2nd place. Meanwhile, up ahead, Liz McColgan.
Really, the difference for me is the experiences that I've had over all different marathons, although they've been in different countries, I'm never aware of what I'm running by because I'm just looking ahead of me. So whether I be in Japan or London or New York or Brazil, anywhere in the world, a marathon's a marathon to me. The thing that makes the London different is the fact that it's the home crowd cheering on you. You can go anywhere in the world, but they won't be shouting your name. In London, everyone's supporting you and willing you to win, and that's the difference.
Well, there'll be plenty of name shouting now. It's gone through 25 miles into that final mile, and what a wonderful feeling this must be.
Well, the most impressive part of this run for me is that Liz's last couple of miles have been faster than the very early miles. So she's obviously got the strength to run the marathon. She's obviously benefited from her coaching by Greta Weitz, who Greta just put the lid on her because Liz was actually starting to destroy herself in training, but now she trains a bit more moderately. She thinks about it a lot more, and certainly on the way to be close to her personal best in this marathon. 5:34 for that last mile along the embankment with a slight wind in her face. As you can see, the trees are just blowing a little, but Liz McColgan's worked for this one, and it'll be a sweet victory for Liz because she's had her critics over the years. She was told she should never run again, and then she was told by many pundits in the sport that her best days were behind her, but she told me yesterday she really feels that her best years are ahead of her, and she really thinks that the marathon is her event.
Confirmation of the 25-mile time. There's the shot of the athlete streaming over Tower Bridge, about 12-mile mark, just beyond it. And meanwhile, 10 miles ahead, the leaders. Just going under Tower Bridge and through the Tower of London. Still Kabiga, the Kenyan, trying to press it. And Serrano now, the Mexican champion. The man who's won this marathon for the last 2 years, beginning to show his strength. Russo dropping off the pace. Paul Evans in 4th place. Serrano of Spain 5. But it's the teenage Kenyan who's really rocking them along. But Serrano, Brendan, looking good.
Serrano certainly is looking good, and he'll be delighted that the Kenyan is helping with the pace. I mean, the Kenyan started stretching it, started pulling them away. Serrano's got the opportunity to follow him for a little, and now just I sense that he's going to start pushing along himself. So he's been helped along there by Kabiga, and now Serrano has decided that he's going to try and make a run for it himself. Russo in 3rd place, and then Paul Evans still hanging on there, still battling well into 4th place, and that's an outstanding performance so far.
Liz McColgan in the final mile of the London Marathon. A certain winner now. Just about to enter birdcage walk. Long straight stretch in front of her, then a sharp right turn, passing the front of Buckingham Palace and turning for the short finish in the mile. In the men's race, meanwhile, Serrano, as we suspected, is now showing his strength. He looked good when he moved up alongside the young Kenyan, and now he's attacked. He's taken them all apart.
Serrano on his way, and Liz McColgan on her way, enjoying the support. And the Flora people were telling me yesterday that their ambition for this London Marathon was to have more people on the roads, more support for charity. They're trying to raise £7 million for charity, but what would top it all would be a British victory, and it looks like they're going to get their reward with a victory for Liz McColgan. But what a sweet victory this will be. Liz has won her first 2 marathons and then lost her last 3 marathons, and now Liz McColgan proving her critics wrong and proving that she's still one of the world's leading distance runners. And this first step in Olympic year for Liz McColgan was to try and win the London Marathon. Her coach Greta Weitz has said, you've got to realise, Liz, this is just en route. She's got 800 metres to go now, but she's only en route to what we hope will be some glory for Liz McColgan, the former Olympic silver medalist in the 10,000 metres. And let's hope after today she can go on from here and improve slightly on that. in the Olympic Games in the marathon.
Liz McColgan, now 31. Meanwhile, there's quite a race going on for second place. Chepchumba has overtaken Kanana. And last year's winner, Sabinska, in fourth place. McColgan now driving for home, and it's a good time as well. That's the scene that awaits her. And she turns in a moment right, from her point of view, into the short finish in the mile. Buckingham Palace overlooking the scene. And Liz McColgan back to form. And winning the London Marathon for the first time. It's been a marvellous comeback story. She's suffered really badly with injuries, was told she'd never run again. So she just found another specialist who didn't say that. Greta Weitz, previous winner herself, one of the great Norwegian marathon runners, advises her now, and that advice has paid off. Liz McColgan of Scotland wins the 1996 Flora Marathon. Superb win. 2 hours 27:54. One of her fastest times, and she looks very, very good indeed. This is the race for second, third and fourth. Chepchumba, the Kenyan, has moved into second place. Takes a look at the watch. Saw Peter McColgan, there's his husband there in the background. International steeplechaser himself. One for the family album. And usually Liz's young daughter is never far away. So the race for second and third. Developing, and Chepchumba, the Kenyan, now in a clear second place, and the race on for third. Chepchumba, previous best time 2 hours 33, so she's way inside that. Paced the race well, run the second half much faster than the first, I suspect. I think she's the first Kenyan woman to finish in the medals in the London Marathon. And the race is on for third place. Sabinska of Poland, last year's winner, looks like taking the bronze medal. Chepchumba takes silver. Sabinska being waved towards the finish. And last year's champion is this year's third. In fourth place, Kanana, another Kenyan. Well, we got quite a race going on in the men's event.
And into the mile any second now. Here she is. It was our long-term leader.
Serrano, the reigning champion, the man who's won it for the past 2 years, the only man in history to do so, is away and clear and going for his third title. Kabiga, the Kenyan, has lost out on second place to Paul Evans of Great Britain, who's running the race of his life.
Paul Evans there battling it out with Kabiga, and Kabiga just closing down a little bit on Paul Evans. Paul's run a brave race there, and just a glance over his shoulder, and as they both look down the road, they'll see Dionisio Serrano looks controlled, looks composed, and looks on his way.
I'm just checking on the placings there. I think Kabiga actually is the man chasing Serrano, and that is the race for third and fourth places. We'll see in a moment. That's Russo now. So the placing's really getting jumbled up in the closing stages.
Well, this is a significant run for Russo because he really isn't a great warm weather runner, and we've got a very warm day here in London, and he's done extraordinarily well to overcome his nervousness and his past performances in the hot weather to try and take on Dionisio Serrano, who is one of the top 2 marathon runners in the world. We saw Serrano in the World Championships take on Martin Fies and lose narrowly in that epic battle in Gothenburg in the World Championships, but he looks altogether different today. He looks more controlled, he looks more composed. And when you come back from a crushing defeat that happened to him in Gothenburg in the World Championships, one always wonders what the next race is going to be like, but Dionisio Serrano is proving he's still a strong man. He's still able to control himself. He hasn't suffered exceptionally by that defeat. His spirit wasn't broken in Gothenburg, and I think we're seeing Dionisio Serrano on the way to another victory, a third victory in the London Marathon, and then later this year you'll see him as one of the main contenders in the Olympic Games marathon. So Dionisio Serrano leading from Vincent Russo, and at the moment Paul Evans is battling it out for third place with Kabiga the Kenyan. So there's Kabiga the Kenyan, and just behind him Paul Evans. Paul just losing a few yards there, but Paul won't give up, and this is a run for Paul which will earn his place in the Olympic Games in Atlanta in the marathon. So he'll have a choice after today, just has to keep going the way he is, and he'll certainly be either third in the London Marathon, but whatever happens, he'll be the first Briton in the London Marathon, and we always suggested that that would be the case. So Paul's run true to form, and his second place in New York, when he finished behind Herman Silva in November of last year, has certainly made him come of age as a marathon runner, because let's make no bones about it, this is a very, very high-class field in this marathon.
Serrano looking so strong.
Well, in the mile, we're looking for the lead woman in the wheelchair race, Rose Hill. Chris, you've coached her before, and she's had a good day today.
Yeah, I coached Rose up until the '94 World Championships. She did her best marathon time a few years ago of 1:43. She's obviously going to be a little bit behind that. We're looking at about 2:09 at the moment. Her course record, she actually holds the course record for the London Marathon at 2 hours and 3 minutes. So she's a little bit outside this, but she's looking good. She's been training well this year. She looked good in Florida earlier on in the year, and it looks like she's going to take her third London Marathon victory.
So no ordinary housewife and mother from Milton Keynes, Rose, who's 40 years old now. And looking forward like so many others. We were talking about this before, Chris, about the Paralympics in Atlanta, and presumably all these marathon runners now, and including yourself, are going to be cutting down on the sort of training distances, getting ready for the sprints and the track races and so on.
Yes, as with David Holden in the men's event, he's cutting right down, and he's going to concentrate on the 100 up to 1500.
So Rose Hill once again becomes the wheelchair marathon of London. A fantastic performance.
The leading man in the elite men's race approaching the final stages. Familiar route for him. He's been here twice before, won it twice before. Serrano with a tremendous competitive record. Second place, working hard to stay there, is Russo. And Paul Evans, we believe, battling it out with Kabiga, the young Kenyan, for third and fourth.
Well, Dionisio Serrano now in a position where he can just enjoy the last part of the race. They've run a very fast time, approaching 800 meters to go, and Dionisio Serrano, well, he was helped on his late run by Kabiga, the Kenyan, and he was delighted when that happened. He followed Kabiga and then began to stretch, and then he found that the race was being run for him. So the silver medalist in the World Championship on his way to victory, while Paul Evans is battling out with Kabiga to try and get that bronze medal. And Paul, you can bet your bottom dollar that Paul's going to give every ounce of energy he's got. This is a good race by Paul Evans. He's run extremely well, but can he just do a little bit more to hang on to the Kenyan? He's hoping the Kenyan will slow a little, but the Kenyan's just drifting a yard and a half, 3 or 4 yards, and now 5 yards away, and Paul Evans is desperately trying to hang on there to third place.
The leader in Birdcage Walk. Have a look to see the gap between first and second, and there's Russo in the background. That shot may be a bit deceiving. Some foreshortening on that. But Serrano, the man who fell, was in the background somewhere there, in the distance. Well, the race still very close for third and fourth. Kabiga and Paul Evans. That New York Marathon run of Paul Evans has given him tremendous confidence. And he's having a go at the Kenyan now. Well, they've slowed in the second part of this race. It's not surprising in this heat. Temperature, we're told the temperature is now in the 70s. Serrano about to pass in front of Buckingham Palace for the third year in the lead in the London Marathon and on the way to victory. Mexico turning out a stream of good distance runners, but this one of the very best. He's the only man to have won the London Marathon twice. He's now gone one better and comes home in the 1996 Flora Marathon, the London winner for the third year run. Dionisio Serrano.
Well, that was an exceptional run by Serrano, and it just tells you about the weather, because it was 2 hours and 10 minutes to the finish. And there is Vincent Russo, who's run an exceptional race in these conditions. But I'm delighted to see in third place Paul Evans just holding off the Kenyan. It's going to be a dramatic finish there, but Paul, you can bet your bottom dollar, won't give up on that one.
So Russo, the top European, Finishes in second place, the Belgian, and in third place, a determined finish by Paul Evans in front of his home crowd. Runs for Belgrave Harriers. And Kabiga, the Kenyan, only 19, is fourth. That's Serrano, who fell. And I think behind him we've got Castro. Good run by Serrano in fifth place after that fall. And he's not picked, by the way, for the Olympic Games. He's only reserved. In sixth place, Castro of Portugal. Couldn't go with the pace in the last 2 miles. That's Gary Staines, also of Belgrave. But now we're looking at Hallibrook, who's going to finish in 7th place. I think Gary Staines, when we saw him there, was in Birdcage Walk. Hallibrook, then of Belgium, a clear 7th. The Belgians who are 2 in the top 7. In 8th place, having had a bad patch at about 22 miles, looks like Benson Masher. And the second Briton in sight is Gary Staines in 9th place. Good run for Belgrave, Brendan. 2 in the first 10.
That's right, good run for Belgrave Harriers, and the patron of Belgrave Harriers, Eddie Kulakundis, who's helped a lot of these athletes, will be absolutely delighted with that. But a good personal best by Gary Staines, who told me yesterday that he was going to run today to find out if he was a marathon runner. He's been a pacemaker in the marathon for the last couple of years, and now the question is, am I a marathon runner? Well, 2 hours 12 on a day like this, you're a marathon runner now, Gary.
So Gary Staines in 9th place.
Here comes Lale Ozturk of Turkey in the women's event. Well done.
And 3:08 is finishing as Ozturk of Turkey, one of the leading female athletes, but not among the medals.
Well, the elite athletes are down the course, and as we look over the Mall, beautiful sights of London. Great performance by Liz McColgan, great performance in the men's race by Dionisio Serrano, become the 3rd-time winner. And whilst the conditions were conducive for watching the marathon, then they were difficult conditions for running a marathon.
Okay, now what's your name? Mr. Ness from Charter School. And pray tell, why are you dressed up as Superman on a hot day like this? Because I'm being sponsored for Great Ormond Street, and I had one large sum of £50. And I'm mad. You certainly are. It's so hot. How's the sun affecting you? It's like an oven, but I may be hot, but Lois Lane's hotter. You're nearly at the 17-mile mark. Do you think you're going to finish it? Yep, definitely. And how much money do you hope to raise? About £500. Yeah? Well, good luck. Keep going. You're nearly there.
Well, Richard Nash, his story, true of so many, still out on the course, and they're going to be out there for a lot longer.
Hi! Right, whose idea was this? what are you running for?
For children's cancer. Hoping to raise about £1,000.
Well, this costume can't be doing a lot in the heat.
Well, we swap over there now. She carries me for the second one.
Good luck. Well done.
Well, those athletes still with miles to go. Some 10-12 miles behind the leading runners. It's carnival time in the Isle of Dogs, and in so many of the other London streets.
You got me reeling, you got me rocking, you got me almost out of my mind. Please tell me that you love me, tell me that I'm weak.
Well, we just saw Robert Bowen, both bride and groom. There's a lady out there today called Angie Bushaway. She originally wanted to get married on the finish line of the race, but what she's settling for today is the fact that the marathon is her honeymoon. So we wish Angie the best of luck. 25,000 plus runners still out on the course, soaking up one of the great atmospheres in any event anywhere in the world.
Of this first transmission for the London Marathon, a check on one or two results. The mini marathon ran over the last 3 miles of the course for the boys and girls of the various London boroughs through which the marathon goes. They're the winners. Meanwhile, they're still finishing, but I can give you the results now of both the men and women's races. The women's race won by Liz McColgan of Scotland and Great Britain, 2 hours 27 minutes 53 seconds. Chepchumba, the Kenyan, in second place, 2 hours 30.9. Sabansky, last year's champion, was third in 2 hours 30.17. The men's race won for the third year in succession by Serrano of Mexico, 2 hours 10 minutes and 1 second. Russo of Belgium was in second place, 2:10.27, and Paul Evans of Great Britain, member of Belgrave Harriers, finished in third place, 2 hours 10 minutes 41 seconds.
It wasn't locked. It never has been. I didn't think it was necessary.
My perfume. Perfume I wanted you to wear. Isn't it good enough for you? Have you even tried it? You're my wife. Maybe you forgot that. Line engine's woman.
Sorry for you.
This won't happen again.
It doesn't matter. That isn't what I meant.
I'm not interested in your opinion of me. I want you to leave. I'll see that you get money. Enough to make it all right that you came all this way, but I want you to leave. I'll send runners downriver. We'll be back for you in a few weeks.
That'll be the end of it, you think?
Yes. I made a mistake marrying someone I'd never met, but you made a mistake coming here.
No, I was looking for something, and I was willing to risk anything to find it. The strength and purpose that was missing in my first husband.
He was a weakling.
So are you. Your weakness is your pride.
Yes, I'm proud. Too proud to take another man's leavings. Maybe you don't realize what it meant to me to have you come here. I told you I was 19 when I came out here. Before that, I had no time for women. Afterwards, in the jungle, they have a name for the man who goes into the native villages at night. No one calls me by that name. You said I didn't know anything about women. You were right, madam. I know nothing about women. Nothing at all.
I thought about that when I saw how you were. I couldn't understand why it was so important to you that I'd been married before. Then I realized. That's why I'm sorry for you.
I'll have this fixed. Afterwards, till your boat comes, whether you lock it or not doesn't matter to me.
Commissioner, how are you? It is good to see you again. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. But what brings Gruber here?
He complains you're stealing his workers.
The only workers I've ever known Gruber to lose were the ones he worked to death.